my fellow comic book collectors. Today is Sunday, and I do my top 5 hottest sales for the week for the Golden Age. Who does Golden Age? I do. that's what it is. It's Golden Age comics, and we're going to look at some big sales and kind of a cool trend that I saw that might be actually some positive news for the comic market. So the first book that we're going to be looking at is Super Mystery Comics Volume 1, Number 1. This is, a Golden Age book from 1940. It is a pretty rare book. There's only 25 on the census and only 24 universal graded copies. And there was a 3.5 comic, graded comic, and it had a sale of $1,650. Now, to put this into context, $1,650, it was a best offer actually. So the original price was $18.95, and the best offer that was accepted was $16.50. The last sale for this book was $460, $460 in 2019. Now it did have a prior record before that, so that was actually a low sale in 2019 of $1,560. So it's still up. This is a book that's up over its previous record, about 10% above its previous record from 2018. But it does show that, kind of a bounce back where the market had sort of dipped and this book has kind of come back up again. So kind of a little bit of positive sign. We're going to see a bit more of that with some of the other comics on this list. But still a great sale to see for a low grade book, reasonably low grade, 3.5, $1,650. It's not too bad. So the next book, number 4 on the list, is a great. I actually didn't even realize how cool of a book this was. This is Detective Comics number 45. Now, this is the third appearance of the Joker in comics altogether. It is the first time, though, that the Joker appears in the Detective Comics title. And Joker, he made earlier appearances in the Batman title. He actually made his first appearance in the Batman title, but it was in this book that he made his first detective appearance. And this was a really beat up copy, actually, with like tape all over it. It was really rough. It's a 0.5 grade, which means that it's incomplete. And it had, also another thing about this book is it actually has an ad for the New York World's Fair. Now, the 1940 World's Fair, or not the World's Fair, not the 1940 World's Fair. I don't think it was New York. I'm not sure actually about that. But the ad is really cool because that is the first time you get Batman, Robin, and Superman on the cover and together as 3 characters. So that's actually a key book for that reason. So this book also has an ad for that. So it's got a lot of cool key elements to it. Now, the record sale for this, the sale that just happened was for $1,580. There was 41 bids for this book. So people were trying to get this book. So it's $1,580 for this book. It has a Bob Kane cover. Now, prior sale to this book was back in September of 22. So when the market kind of was crashing, it had a sale for $778.55. And it had a prior record, though, of $1,440. So this is still 10 to 15% above that prior record. So not only have we seen the market crash a little bit during the previous record was at the height of the comic market, and then it it crashed in September of 22, and so it's just you get this kind of weird kind of dip where it really went down half value and now has recovered, not only recovered from its previous record, but to its previous record, but beyond it, where it's now 15% above its previous record. So 1,580 for 0.5 grade. The census count for this book is actually quite high. There's 108 universal copies and 144 copies altogether. So it's a pretty common book for the Golden Age. I mean, that's for the Golden Age. But there's so many key things about it that it is desirable. Okay, number 3 on the list. Superman 13 from 1941. And this is a really great book as well. This is a World War II cover. You got Superman punching the punching the Nazi boat. It's like, who does that? Superman does. And it's actually a kind of a key appearance. Like they say Jimmy Olsen appearance in it, but it's actually more than that. This book was, okay, so Jimmy Olsen, he first appeared in Action Comics number 6, but he was just referred to as the office boy. He was never referred to as Jimmy Olsen. He was just the office boy. Well, in this issue, so Superman 13, he actually gets referred to as Jimmy Olsen. So that's really kind of like maybe his first full appearance in a weird way, like where he's named appearance. I don't know how you would call it, but this is where he gets the name Jimmy Olsen. So kind of awesome book to get. Really, definitely a key for those people who collect Jimmy Olsen. Kind of a major character for Superman. Now this sale was for $6.5, and it sold for $5,500. It was, a big sale. Just to give you a sense of how big of a sale this is, the last sale, which happened in August of 21, was for $1,797.98. So this is almost triple that prior sale. And that was a record. That was a prior record for this book. So this is a big sale, 3 times the prior record. And there are actually 129 universal copies on the census and 159 altogether. So it's not as rare as some of the other books on this list, but it is definitely a key that people go after. It's early Superman. A lot of people chase those early Supermans, and this was a big sale for $6.5, $5,500. So big sale. Okay, number 2 on the list is Voodoo, number 14. I actually really like this book. I would have liked to have bought this book. This is a beautiful book. It's got that great skull cover. You got the beauty pageant kind of element to it too. Good girl element. So it's pre-code horror plus good girl. So it's got a bit of both. This is from 1954, which is kind of at the end of the pre-code horror stage. So it's kind of got that more interesting element to it. The later issues of the pre-code horror stage are more desirable because it's like right at the end where they were a little bit more risky in terms of what they were trying. So this book has it was a 2.5 grade, and it sold for $999. Which is a really good sale. The prior sale of this book was in January of 2018 for $555. So almost double, like 45% more. I don't know. I'm doing math in my head on this one. There are 23 copies, universal graded copies on the census, and that's all the graded copies. So it's a pretty rare book compared to those Superman and the Batman books. Very much a rarer book. And it's just one of these great pre-code horror books. What I've seen and watching the market is that pre-code horror is having another heyday. So there was kind of an interesting phase where pre-code horror kind of was similar to the Ninja Turtles. It'll make sense in a second. Where the Ninja Turtles had back in 2018, 2019 era, had sort of a boom. The prices for Ninja Turtles went through the roof. And what happened was they had a correction prior to the correction that happened for the rest of the comic book industry. So the Turtle books kind of dropped earlier, but they had gone up earlier than the rest of the comics. Well, pre-code horror had the same kind of effect, where a lot of the books kind of a little bit earlier than the comic boom were kind of going up in the pre-code horror. Well, what we're seeing now is, there was a correction on the pre-code horror, and what we're seeing now is actually the books are kind of rebounding, and there's new strength within pre-code horror that, people are getting into pre-code horror now. Maybe they're parking their money into pre-code horror because it seems to be that they're getting big prices for a lot of these pre-code horror books. So this was definitely a big sale for a 2.5 at $999. So that was a big sale. Now, last book. This one actually I bid on. I tried to win this book, did not win this book. This is Perfect Crime 23, and it's from April 1st of 1952. This book is kind of a classic cover. It's one where they're not even sure who the cover artist is. That's kind of, I tried to research it, try to find out who the cover artist is. He did a bunch of covers for the same publication and for the same series, but nobody knows who the artist is. It's really weird. So, but he does these kind of really great art covers, and this is no exception to that. And I tried to bid on it. It went way past my bid. I was shocked how much this went for. So this was a 2.5 raw copy, and it sold for $1,736. Now, for a raw copy in the Golden Age, you're taking on a lot of risk when you're buying raw copies in the Golden Age. Now, yes, it could be a 2.5, and it could be the greatest thing that you got a good call on the grade. But if you grade it wrong, like let's say there's a page missing or something missing from the book, you are in trouble. It's like, and that happens a lot. Like with Golden Age books, a lot of the time that centerfold falls out for whatever reason. It is really common, especially in the lower grades. You're going to have that happen more often. So for a 2.5 raw, you gotta be a little bit nervous. You don't get full market value on those books. So this was a big sale. The prior sale for a 3.5 happened. The prior record for a 3.5 was $3,020, but there was a correction where the book had sold again and sold in March of this year, like this month, for $1,924. So the 3.5 actually sold for around $1,924 this month, and that was actually down. Now this sale for 2.5 raw, you have to compare it to something like the sale that happened for 2.0. And the reason I say that, where you compare a 2.5, which is a higher grade, to a lower grade, is that's the difference that you really have to take into account for the fact that it's a raw copy versus a graded copy. Because the grading costs are going to be, a few $100s, and the certainty about the grade is important as well. So there was a 2.0 sale back in March of 2020, and it was for $378. So this sale at $1,736 is actually a really, really big sale. That's why, you have to look at all these things in order to kind of gauge how big of the sale they are. And this really does show that there is some strength in the market. These are kind of a really good variety of books. I hope that you enjoyed watching me kind of explain these books out. And I hope you enjoy this series. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and put a comment below. What do you think? Thanks again.